There are some other questions, though, that have been sent to me in text, and I want to bring that up. So his first question is, what is the right attitude to approach negative situations in life? And then he says, some of the negative situations could have been the result of our own shortcomings or lack of efforts. I'll deal with the second part first. You see, when situations arise which are a little problematic, is there any point in investigating why do they arise? Because we can come to a superstitious conclusion. We can say, oh, this was my bad karma, a kind of fatalistic attitude. That would not be helpful. And anything that is investigated in the past will really not be that useful because it's gone. We can't correct it. The only thing we can correct is the present moment. And if we say, use the language of negative situations, this is our interpretation of what is positive, what is negative. Sometimes situations arise which have a net positive effect and not a negative effect. So what do we mean by negative? What do we mean by positive? Because only humans evaluate things in this term. I don't think a crocodile evaluates whether it is positive or negative to sit in a swamp. So we tend to categorize these in several ways. First way will be what upsets our peace of mind or our happiness, we can categorize as negative. But then we have to be extremely careful because the things that we sometimes identify as good and positive and pleasant will actually, in its net result or effect, be negative. That means painful. So we can categorize negativity as painful situations, even if they're described as or disguised as pleasure. And so it's a question of being discerning. Our primary practice is practice of discernment. What should we discern? We should discern whether things are useful to us or not. We should discern whether things are permanent or impermanent. We should discern whether things are real or unreal. This is the primary discernment. And since we are all caught up in a fleeting world, a world which we can describe as Maya, and Maya is inscrutable. We can't exactly say it's illusion. What we can say is that it is an inscrutable situation which mistakes the real for the unreal and the unreal for the real. And our whole life will be to understand this. And painful situations in life will be a good promoter of it. It'll prod us in this right direction. It'll make us look higher. So we have to take cognizance of this very useful analogy that is there in the Mundaka Upanishad. There are two birds on the tree, and we can embellish the story very nicely. And the bird that is an ordinary looking bird is doing what birds do. And I always mention that sometimes we think that birds are very happy and delightful. We all want to fly like a bird. They seem to be absolutely free. And free is an expression, free as a bird. But actually, I wonder if they are so free. They're always a little skittish, a little nervous. They're looking for food. And when they fly, they're taking advantage of gliding. Now, I have seen pleasure in this, how birds can stop the effort of moving the wings and take advantage of air currents. And nature is not only a delight to watch and observe and an inspirer, but is also a teacher. What lessons do we learn from all these aspects of nature? We can learn the art of gliding. When we see a current that can take us usefully, we can take advantage of it and use that auspicious moment. What do we mean by auspicious moments? Moments conducive to our flight to noble heights. We can put it in this way. So we have to be careful when we talk about negative situations and also exploring them ad infinitum in depth, asking the question, why? Why is a useless question. Why not? What next is much more positive way of looking at it. What a pity, we should abandon that attitude. What a glory, that's a better way of looking at things. So the question is, what is the right attitude to approach negative, here we'll say painful situations? Well, the right approach is, first of all, to discern. Step back, the proverbial counting to 10, not to get caught up in the emotion of it necessarily. To stand apart and evaluate it properly from a calm, cool perspective and introduce a truthful perspective on it. Now, if we explore what is truth, we come to one fundamental conclusion after going through many layers. The truth about the inherent freedom of our own self. The truth about the beauty and glory of our own self. And any thought movement that moves us in that direction and gives us a free flight in that direction, that will be a useful attitude. Attitude can be said to have two kind of categorical approaches. One is intellectual and one is emotional. So we've dealt with the intellectual. What a pity replaced by what a glory. And what a glory comes with an emotional feeling. What a glory allows us to tune ourselves into the beauty and the indescribable, blissful nature of nature itself. And the more we tune into that, the better. And we should not wait for painful situations to arise before we introduce a methodology. We have to forestall it by constantly filling the mind with elements of nobility and purity and goodness and love and harmony. Even repeating these words will reframe everything within us, physically, psychologically, emotionally, everything. And we'll be building up a bank balance, an unconscious bank balance, where we are always in the black as opposed to in the red. We're always in a positive situation. We start off in the morning. We start off taking advantage of all of those opportunities. Where the mind is not fully occupied, we notice its laziness or its ambience, its wandering nature, and then we insert something more directional in it. And the only way we direct thoughts is through words. Words have corresponding concepts, can't avoid it. Strong, true, wise, full, free, truth, beauty, goodness, love, harmony, put that in. And along with that, put the feeling in. May all have these qualities. And not only that, but we create this connection as we do it with this divinity all around us and within us. And when we do that, we're saturating the mind more and more and more, so that the mind is buffered completely when some unexpected thing comes and arises and threatens to topple our boat overboard. A calm attitude is necessary. And to acquire that, we have to have faith. Faith means that everything that is happening in nature, regardless of how it is caused, is intrinsically for our benefit. And somewhere within it is an opportunity where we can glide, taking a non-competitive gap, being like a footballer. A footballer, in order to kick a ball, has to raise his leg. And that means the opposition player sees an opportunity called a gap and can put the ball there where the gap is. Looking for all these non-competitive gaps, all these divine moments where we can elevate the mind and emulate the bird that says, instead of in so vigorously, with such great energy, flapping my wings, let me flap them as far as I can until I catch that air current. When I catch that air current, I can then glide. No more effort is necessary. I can relax. And it's a technique in life, taking so-called stressful moments, and pausing there and creating a moment of relaxation, emulating the very heartbeat. It knows how to do it. It doesn't go on holiday. It has temporary pauses. It beats and rests. It's a peristaltic pump. Tuck, tuck, rest. Tuck, tuck, rest, like that. So we should learn to take these opportunities to fill the mind with something more inspiring. And that means that internally we get an elevation. Internally, we get a kind of internal rapture that we live with and that protects us. Now, repetition of a mantra is an indispensable use in this. And repetition of the mantra is not repetition just of a meaningless phrase. A feeling has to be there because in most cases, a mantra is the sound embodiment of your Ishta Devata, of your chosen ideal. And for this reason, it's repetition of the holy name of God in an endearing way, offering it to your beloved like a rose flower each time. And why is it a protecting thought? It's a protecting thought because it protects us against the negative impact of doubt and fear and temptation. We preempt it by putting in the positives. It becomes a kind of shield around us.